Welcome, bienvenidos, benvindu, to the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, part of the SDH network, the only English language show devoted to South America's premier club competition. I'm your host, Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccermetrics. 90 minutes gone and 90 minutes to go. The first legs of the Copa Libertadores semifinals are complete. And these two matches have been a reminder that football isn't played on paper, the ball is round, and you have to play the games. And now that I've used up all of the cliches, this episode will be nothing more than a look at the two semifinal matches and nothing else. Starting with the first semifinal between Flamengo and Racing Club at the Estadio Maracanã. A full house, over 70,000 present with tifo displays, flares, and fireworks all around. Flamengo, arguably the hottest team on the continent right now, against a Racing Club that has put together everything into this Libertadores campaign, looking to return to the final for the first time in 58 years. Felipe Luis made 4 changes to the Flamengo side that faced Estudiantes in the quarterfinal second leg. In goal was Agustin Rossi. In defense, Alexandro, Leo Pereira, Danilo, and Guillermo Varela. Defensive midfield pair of Jorginho and Eric Pulgar. In the forward midfield, Jorge Carrascal, Jordan de Arrasqueta, and Luis Araujo. And as a lone striker up front, Pedro. Gustavo Costas, manager of Racing Club, made 3 changes from the lineup that played Vélez in the quarterfinal second leg. In defense, Facundo Cambeses. Defense, Gabriel Rojas, Marcos Rojo, Santiago Sosa, Nazareno Colombo, and Gaston Maturana. Midfield, Tomás Konechny, Agustín Almendra, Bruno Zuculini, and Santiago Solari. And the lone striker up front was Adrian Martinez. In the previous episode, I forecasted a tight defensive battle between these two sides. It looked somewhat different at the beginning. Not a frenetic pace to be sure, but there were chances for both sides. The majority of the opportunities for Flamengo in the early going came from Jorge Carrascal. The Colombian, with a couple of half chances where the ball ended up in the hands of Facundo Cambeses. Racing Club had the closest chance of all just 6 minutes in. A ball sent into the area got redirected off Agustin Almendra and just skimmed the near post of Agustin Rossi. Carrascal was becoming a constant danger on the left side for Flamengo, not just for his shot making, but also for his ability to get his teammates into the play. Racing Club had their best chance 33 minutes in, when Solari's right-footed volley off an Almendra corner forced a flying save by Rossi. Then in stoppage time, Flamengo would have their best chance open the scores, when another Carrascal foray led to a cross, and ultimately a scissor attempt by Pedro, but Cambeses stood tall to block it away. Cambeses was Racing's most important player in the first half, and he demonstrated why he earned a call-up to Argentina's national team in the previous international window. In the second half, Cambeses was called upon to make another save, this time preventing a goal by Plata, a flying effort to keep the scoreline 0-0. Racing were pulling back into their own half, choosing to soak up pressure by the host team. Some wayward shots by Flamengo were produced during this period, but the shots that ended up on goal found a barrier in the reliable Cambeses. Samuel Lino had a powerful shot that forced another flying save with 15 minutes to go. And then with 10 minutes to go, Flamengo had an apparent lead. Racing, not able to clear the lines off another attempt, the ball was played back in by Pulgar to Samuel Lino, who headed past Cambeses to give Flamengo an apparent 1-0 lead. But the lead proved to be illusory. because VAR overturned that apparent goal due to Lino being in an offside position. Flamengo continued pressing their advantage and pressing for a breakthrough goal. And with 2 minutes ago, they found it. Carrascal, once again the principal figure, playing Bruno Henrique into the final third. His shot was blocked away by Cambeses, but the rebound found its way through a crowded penalty area to Carrascal, who was following the play, and his shot ricocheted off Rojo into the net. That was the lone goal of the game, as Flamengo ended the match with a 1-0 win. Flamengo definitely felt a sense of relief to win a match in which they weren't at their best. But Carrascal was at his best. He generated a .6 expected goals and .43 expected assists, by far the best return of any Flamengo player. The match commentators made Carrascal the best player on the field, and the statistical metrics indicate that he was the best player as well. The Racing Club would have been happy with such a result if you had told them beforehand that they would leave Rio with a 1-0 defeat. Now, Racing are probably fair to feel disappointed that this match didn't end goalless. But they do end with a 1-0 defeat. They're a goal down, and they retain Adrian Martinez for the second leg semifinal. He did not receive the yellow card that they feared that he would get. So all to play for in Avellaneda next week. That's the end of part 1. In part 2, the second semifinal of the Copa Libertadores. Part 2 of the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, part of the SDH network. Now, let's move on to the second semifinal between Liga de Quito and Palmeiras in Quito. Palmeiras, the team of the 2020s, always a candidate for the title, but they haven't played for it in 4 years. Liga de Quito, seeking to defy the experts and return to the Libertadores final for the first time in 17 years. Can they take full advantage of the altitude? Thiago Nunes, manager of Liga de Quito, made 3 changes from the quarterfinal second leg versus Sao Paulo, while keeping the same formation. Alexander Dominguez in goal, Leonel Quiñones, Richard Ade, and Richard Mina in the defensive line, Brian Ramirez, Kevin Minda, Carlos Grueso, Gabriel Villamil, and Jose Quintero in the midfield, and Jason Medina and Lisandro Alzugaray up front. Abel Ferreira, manager of Palmeiras, was forced to replace Weverton due to a hand injury, and he made 3 more changes in midfield. Carlos Miguel was the man in goal. In front of him, a defensive line of Joaquin Piqueres, Murillo, Gustavo Gomez, and Kelvin. The holy midfielder, Emiliano Martinez. In midfield, Felipe Anderson, Andreas Pereira, and Rafael Vega. And in the forward line, Victor Roque and Jose Lopez. In the preview to this match, I expressed doubts that Liga de Quito could get away with a 3-man defense against a potent Palmeiras attack, even at home. Liga's response to the skeptics would be to play bold and to run with abandon along the wings, and that is how they set about overwhelming the Greens. Quiñones on the left, Ramirez on the right, and Villamil through the middle. And within a quarter of an hour, Liga de Quito were in the lead. Quiñones, surging on the left-hand side, cut back to an open Villamil in the box, who finished hard over Dominguez's hands to give Liga de Quito the 1-0 lead. They would double their advantage almost 10 minutes later via the penalty spot. A hard shot by Quiñones hit Andreas Pereira on the hand. The referee pointed to the penalty spot. Alzugaray stepped forward, and he slotted the ball past Miguel to double the advantage for Liga de Quito. In the second minute of first half stoppage time, Liga would race out to a 3-0 lead. Once again, a breakaway on the right flank. The ball was cut back by Ramirez to Villamil, making a late run the box, and his clinical finish gave Liga de Quito a 3-0 advantage. In the second half, Ferreira brought on Agustin Guillay and Ramon Sosa to replace Kelvin and Rafael Vega, who were fried on the left-hand side. Palmeiras struggled to build coherently through the midfield throughout the entire match. Liga were successful at controlling the tempo, and they rarely looked uncomfortable. Palmeiras' best chance to get back into the tie came in the 83rd minute when a misplayed ball saw a breakaway on the right-hand side, but the resulting shot was parried away by Dominguez. In the 5th minute of stoppage time, Liga would go down to 10 men. Ramirez was sent off via VAR for a high boot on Agustin Guillay. Guillay was in fact very lucky not to have his leg broken by this foul. And Ramirez's red card sees him out of the second leg for the semifinal, and if Liga de Quito advanced to the final, it's very possible that he will be disqualified for that match as well. But the final result, Liga de Quito 3, Palmeiras 0. Liga finished the home campaign unbeaten without allowing a goal at home. 5 wins and 1 draw. Gabriel Villamil was by far the best player on the field. 0.70 expected goals, but most importantly, 2 critical goals to contribute to Liga's advantage in the first leg. This is the 3rd time that Liga de Quito have put 3 goals past the Brazilian team at home in the Copa Libertadores knockout. For Palmeiras, this result represented the worst match in the Abel Ferreira era. Only Andreas Pereira was effective in creation, leading the team in expected assists. And that team of the 2020s, that team that has been a perennial candidate for the Libertadores title over the course of this decade, now has a very steep mountain to climb if they want to return to yet another Libertadores final. The Libertadores circus shifts south and east next week with 2 decisive matches. In Avellaneda on the 29th of October, Racing Club will host Flamengo. And in Sao Paulo, Palmeiras will host Liga de Quito on the 30th. Can the Brazilian sides battle through, reverse the scoreline, and advance to yet another Libertadores final? They're certainly capable of doing so, and if they do, it'll be a testament to their talent and experience. Racing Club have a chance, and Liga de Quito have a very good chance of getting to the final themselves. But next week, it all starts again, and we're in for a dramatic and intense 90 minutes in both places. As a reminder, you can find XG maps, flowcharts, and passing network maps for every Libertadores match on the Soccermetrics X feed. Match day is supplied by Data Factory Latin America. Got a comment or a question about this podcast or the Libertadores? Send them to my X handle at Soccermetrics. You can also send questions or comments to Soccer Down Here or to Jason Longshore at Longshoe. I'll be back next week to get you ready for the second legs of the Libertadores semifinals. This has been the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, proudly part of the SDH network. See you later. Hasta luego. E até mais.